Hello my best friends. My name is Layla and this is Layla Flicks. Our movie today begins with a story from the past, where we see a small kitten named Garfield hiding inside a cardboard box in the street. At that moment, his father comes to him and tells him to wait right here and not move from his place. Then his father leaves him alone and walks away, and we can see that Garfield is scared and extremely terrified of the sounds he hears around him. Despite that, Garfield keeps waiting for his father, hoping he will return quickly. But as soon as he sees the restaurant in front of him and smells the food, he decides to go there because he is very hungry. And indeed, Garfield heads toward the restaurant, crosses the road, and stands under the window. Inside the restaurant, we see the waiter serving a pizza to one of the customers, and we learn that this person's name is John. At that moment, we notice that he feels emptiness and loneliness, and he keeps watching the families around him eating together. When John is about to eat his pizza, he is shocked, but Garfield is extremely hungry and devours the entire pizza very quickly. Because of that, John is forced to ask the waiter to bring him another meal. At that moment, he is surprised when he sees him, but Garfield keeps moving from one table to another, eating anything he finds in front of him. When John comes to collect his new order, Garfield bursts out of the box he was hiding in, so John grabs him and rushes out of the restaurant. John begins to sympathize with Garfield when he sees him crying and feels that he is just as lonely as he is. That's why he decides to keep him. Many days pass, and we see Garfield living with John in his house, and we also see that a dog named Odie lives with them. We learn then that Garfield loves Odie very much because he is an obedient and smart dog who helps him in everything he does. After a long period of time, the three of them grow up together, and we see them living a happy and enjoyable life. It becomes clear that Garfield loves John deeply. As soon as John falls asleep, Garfield carries him to his bed and covers him. In the middle of the night, Garfield wakes up because he is very hungry, so he calls Odie, who takes him to the fridge. The two of them keep thinking about what they might eat. Suddenly, they hear a strange sound, and two dogs appear, looking terrifying and frightening. But Garfield is not scared of them, because he is convinced he is just dreaming. So he makes Odie hit him to wake him up from the dream. But suddenly he discovers that this isn't a dream at all. The two dogs attack them, tie them up with ropes, and hang them by their legs from the ceiling. Garfield and Odie become extremely scared and don't know what to do. After a while, a strange man appears, jumping from place to place to get closer to Garfield and Odie. We notice the two dogs watching from afar. The man reaches the rope and manages to cut it, freeing Garfield and Odie, then tells them they must escape quickly. When he removes his outfit, Garfield is shocked and overwhelmed when he sees him, and Odie realizes that the man's name is Vic, and that he is Garfield's father who abandoned him when he was still little. Suddenly, they all hear a terrifying sound and get scared when an evil-looking cat appears beside them. The cat starts laughing at them because she successfully frightened them. We then learn that this cat's name is Jinx. Garfield looks very confused by what is happening and asks why she kidnapped them. Jinx begins telling him about herself and says that she used to be a stray cat in the streets, and everything changed after she met Vic and his gang and decided to join them. She tells him that one day, while they were stealing milk from a farm, the police suddenly arrived and arrested her. Jinx continues her story and says she lived the worst days of her life in prison until she met the two dogs, who became her assistants, and then the three of them escaped from prison together. We return to the present, and Jinx tells Garfield that as soon as she learned he was Vic's son, she decided to kidnap him so she could get to Vic. She explains that revenge is not her goal. What she really wants is for Vic to compensate her with 1 liter of milk for every day she spent in prison. When Odie calculates the days, he finds that Jinx wants 1,675 liters of milk. Vic is shocked when he hears the number. Jinx also demands that he bring her the milk from the lactose farms they had planned to steal from long ago. Then she approaches Garfield and tells him she knows about the issues between him and his father, and that's why they must do this mission together. But Garfield refuses the idea and tries to escape, but the giant dog blocks him. Jinx then explains that if they don't do what she says, she will have her assistants kill them. She keeps scaring them more and more, so Garfield, Vic, and OD panic and decide to follow her instructions. Jinx gives them a 2-day deadline and tells them her assistants will be watching them at all times. Garfield leaves the place very angry and keeps yelling at his father for dragging him into trouble with these criminals, and also for abandoning him when he was little. Vic asks Garfield to give him a second chance so he can explain what happened, but Garfield refuses to listen. When Garfield tries to leave, OD stops him, which frustrates Garfield even more, but he is forced to help Vic. On the way, Vic keeps reassuring Garfield and tells him that stealing from the lactose farms is very easy, and that they will go there by train. Meanwhile, John wakes up and panics when he finds food spilled on the floor, and he realizes Garfield is in danger because he has never left food behind. We then return again to Garfield, Vic, and OD as they reach the train tracks. At that moment, Vic grabs a tree branch and lifts Garfield onto it, and as soon as the train arrives, he lets go of the branch, sending Garfield flying far away, while he and OD hop into the train with complete ease, unlike Garfield, who keeps getting tossed from one place to another until he finally manages to enter the train from the other side. Meanwhile, John is extremely worried about Garfield and OD, and decides to call the municipality so they can help him locate them. We return to the train and find Vic nervous for Garfield because of Jinx, but he calms down the moment he sees the collar around Garfield's neck. Vic goes over to talk to him and explains that he'll gain a lot from this mission. But Garfield keeps mocking him because Vic didn't care about him and abandoned him when he was still a kitten. Garfield is desperate to finish this mission as quickly as possible. Once they reach the station, Vic shoves Garfield out of the train and jumps out behind him along with OD. Then they all go to observe the lactose farm from a distance, pretending that the place is extremely secure. By chance, Garfield notices the massive bull whose picture appears on the farm's logo. His name is Otto. Garfield walks up to him and tells him he's one of his biggest fans, singing to him and asking if there's a way they can get into the farm. But Otto refuses to help and looks very upset. He gets exhausted, hits Garfield, and slams him against a tree. But the moment Otto sees the cow on the opposite side of the farm, he becomes emotional, leaves Garfield alone, and walks away. Vic follows him, trying to comfort him. Garfield joins them and asks Otto if that cow is his beloved. Otto tells them she is, that her name is Ethel. And he explains that not long ago, their farm was on the verge of bankruptcy, so they decided to remove him from the farm. He tells them they abandoned her, leaving her in the farm to play with the children. Otto continues speaking to Garfield and says he tried many times to rescue her but always failed. Garfield sees an opportunity and offers to bring Ethel back in exchange for guidance on how to enter the farm. Otto agrees and begins explaining all the details about the place, pointing out where Ethel is kept and where the milk truck is located. They learn the role of each one of them and what they need to do. The next day, Otto tells Garfield and Vic that they need to train well so they'll be ready for the mission. Otto trains them relentlessly, slamming them into the ground, hitting them against rocks, throwing tree trunks at them, and growling at them while chasing them with a giant log. Both Garfield and Vic get worn out trying to escape him. After a long day of training, Garfield and Vic sit under a tree, blaming each other for everything that's happened. OD ties them both to the tree with a rope, leaves them, and walks away. Each of them starts pulling the rope from his side, hitting the other, and they continue like that until they're completely exhausted. That's when Vic finally starts explaining to Garfield what really happened in the past. He tells him he didn't abandon him, and that on that day he wanted to feed Garfield because he was starving, but people kept chasing them away wherever they went. Vic had no choice but to place Garfield somewhere safe and go look for food. He searched through restaurant trash, but every time a cook saw him, he would chase him off. Eventually, Vic found a fish in the garbage and rushed back to give it to Garfield, but when he returned, Garfield was gone. From afar, he later saw Garfield with John at the restaurant. When he realized John was treating Garfield well, he decided not to interfere and let him live a better life. Garfield is shocked by this story and asks his father why he never visited him all these years. Vic tells him he did visit, constantly, but without Garfield noticing. At that moment, Otto arrives and tells them they're ready to steal the milk truck and rescue Ethel. We then see Jinx's minions spying from the treetops. Later that night, they return to Jinx and inform her they saw Garfield and Vic preparing to steal the milk truck. Jinx immediately calls the Lactose Farm guard and tells him someone plans to steal their truck tomorrow. The guard is confused because he doesn't understand a word she's saying, so he goes to inform the head guard. We meet the head guard, a terrifying, intimidating figure, who uses a phone app that can translate Jinx's speech. She begins preparing the security plan. The next day, Otto reviews the plan with Garfield, Vic, and OD, giving them acorn-shaped earpieces to communicate. When Otto sees the children's animal-shaped backpacks, he gets an idea: they should disguise themselves inside the backpacks. And they do. Garfield, Vic, and OD hide inside the children's bags without anyone noticing. They seize the opportunity and sneak toward the electrical room, with Otto disguised as a janitor so no workers get suspicious. Then they all crawl into the ventilation system, which rushes them through at high speed, tossing them in different directions until they fall onto the production line. Outside the farm, Otto stays in touch with them via earpiece and urges them to exit quickly. But unfortunately, the head guard spots Garfield on the cameras. Suddenly, Garfield falls onto a giant block of cheese and begins eating happily, but the block moves fast, carrying him toward the human area. Garfield panics, unsure what to do. OD appears and tells him to jump and grab onto another cheese block. Garfield jumps just in time, but the block keeps moving and sends him straight into the cheese melting chamber. Garfield keeps leaping from one block to another trying to escape. OD intervenes, uses a rope made of cheese, pulls him, and rescues him at the last second. Garfield then falls onto a slab of butter, which suddenly explodes downward as blades drop to slice the butter. OD joins him, trying to save him, but can't. Both of them struggle to escape as the knives multiply and move rapidly. Luckily, Vic spots them, leaps toward them from platform to platform, and reaches them just in time. Garfield is overwhelmed with relief and thanks him. All three rush to the milk truck, only to discover that the keys are missing. Suddenly the head guard appears, revealing she has the keys. Garfield sprints toward her and uses a chair. Garfield tries to attack her, but she's far too strong and easily restrains him, then starts chasing OD and Vic to capture them. Garfield takes the opportunity to talk to Otto through the earpiece and tells him what's happening. Otto immediately tells him he's coming and sprints toward the farm to save them. Garfield then grabs a water barrel, leaps quickly, and begins attacking the head guard, hitting her and snatching the keys from her. But just as Garfield tries to escape with the others, the head guard grabs him, shocks him with electricity, and takes the keys back. Suddenly, the alarm goes off, and the head guard notices Otto trying to break into the farm. Vic seizes her distraction and apologizes to Garfield for what he's about to do. He throws himself and OD at the head guard, knocking her down, grabs the keys, locks her inside, jumps into the truck, and speeds away. Garfield is heartbroken by what happened. Vic abandoned him again. Meanwhile, Vic drives the milk truck at full speed, smashing through the farm fences as he escapes. When Otto enters the farm, he reunites with Ethel, but just as he approaches her, the head guard returns and stops him, shocking him too, and orders her guards to chase him. As for Garfield and OD, the municipality arrests them and throws them into the truck. Meanwhile, Vic, driving the milk truck as fast as he can, runs into Jinx and her minions on the road. He steps out and tells Jinx he did what they agreed on. But Jinx tells him the milk truck doesn't matter to her, that everything she did was only to make the municipality arrest him and lock him away. She tells him she wants nothing in life except to see him suffer the way she suffered in prison. She orders her minions to seize him. We return to Garfield, who is now locked up among many cats. All of them know Vic, as he used to be the leader of their gang. They begin telling Garfield stories about him, how they kicked him out of the gang because he kept abandoning every mission, always saying he was going to check on his son. They tell Garfield Vic used to watch him from the treetops without Garfield noticing, leaving a mark each time he visited. Garfield is shocked by what he hears but still doesn't believe them. After a while, OD arrives with John. John is overjoyed to see Garfield again. He shows the worker Garfield's collar, retrieves him, and finally takes him home. Garfield is happy to return to his old life. But when he goes to the dinner table with John and OD, for the first time Garfield feels he doesn't want to eat. He becomes emotional when he looks at the tree Vic used to watch him from. Garfield goes to the tree to confirm what the cats told him. As he climbs up, OD hugs him tightly and tells him he realized Vic really did love him. But Garfield still doesn't understand why Vic ran away with the milk truck. Suddenly, Garfield realizes, Vic knew Garfield wouldn't be arrested when he saw his collar on the train. Garfield becomes overjoyed and decides to rescue him. That night, Garfield and OD head to the abandoned building. They discover that Jinx plans to throw Vic off the moving train as it crosses the bridge. Garfield uses the earpiece to contact Otto and ask for help. We cut to the train heading toward the bridge. Inside, Vic is tied up and hanging from the ceiling, while Jinx and her minions surround him. Garfield and Otto agree on a plan. Garfield will jump into the train, free Vic, and they'll escape quickly. OD prepares a net under the bridge so Garfield can land safely when they jump. OD opens the restaurant app on his phone and orders a massive amount of food. Garfield climbs onto a tree branch while Otto pulls it downward. As soon as the train approaches, Otto releases the branch, sending Garfield flying into the air. He bounces from place to place until he crashes into the train, knocking down Jinx and her minions. Garfield tries to cut the rope to free Vic, but Jinx attacks and accidentally cuts the rope herself. Garfield grabs Vic, runs, climbs to the top of the train, and pulls Vic up with him. They run fast to reach the last train car, but Jinx's minions manage to corner them. Suddenly, the food Garfield ordered arrives on delivery drones. Garfield jumps and hangs onto the food crates, using meatballs to knock out one of Jinx's minions, then using vegetables to take down the second. Garfield and Vic run toward the last car again, but another minion grabs Vic. Garfield throws hot sauce in the minion's eyes. Jinx appears and throws Garfield onto a drone, but he keeps jumping across the food crates, eats an entire jar of hot sauce, and returns breathing fire at them. He grabs a nearby rope, swings onto a tree branch, and pulls Vic with him back to the last car. Just before Garfield falls off the train, Vic grabs him quickly, just as the train reaches the bridge. Jinx and her minions surround them again on the other side. Garfield is forced to push Vic off the train and jump after him. But the net is pulled too tight. When they fall on it, it launches them back upward, right onto the train again. Jinx goes after them with her minions, catching them and preparing to throw them off the train. Garfield apologizes to Vic, saying he tried to save him but failed. Vic comforts him and says he did his best. Jinx's minions feel sympathy and beg Jinx to let them go. But Jinx refuses and mocks her minions, calling them idiots. She grows furious, attacks them, and knocks them all off the train. Then she slips too and falls after them. Before Garfield and the others hit the ground, Otto arrives at the last second and rescues them, including Jinx, and they all land on the net. Garfield and everyone else are thrilled they're still alive. Later, they take the milk truck and go meet the head guard, disguised as a human. They retrieve the cow, Ethel, and speak to the head guard using the voice translation app. They also hand over Jinx and give her the truck keys. The head guard is delighted she caught the cat who planned everything. Ethel reunites with Otto, and he joyfully hugs her. The next day, Garfield and OD return home and ask Vic to stay with them. But when Vic notices they aren't holding on to him tightly, he refuses, apologizes to Garfield for everything, and leaves. When Garfield and OD go inside, John is thrilled they're back. But Garfield feels overwhelming guilt toward his father, remembering everything Vic did for him. Garfield runs out of the house to look for him. When he can't find him, he realizes Vic must be up in the tree again. Garfield goes there and finds him. Garfield asks his father to live with them. Vic climbs down from the tree and hugs him. Some time later, we see Garfield preparing food for John, OD, and Vic. He throws a party at home, where all his animal friends come and play music. They all dance together, and finally, they live happily as one family, sharing many adventures together, joyful and united. The story ends. If you like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, check the backup channel for real movie summaries in the first comment, and catch the previous videos. Bye!